There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Horror Thoughts. We are here talking all things horror twice a week on Wednesdays, or every 2 weeks on Wednesdays. Whatever, I'll keep it in. And today we are talking about our favorite horror movie scores and soundtracks and ambiances and everything in between, music-wise, audio-wise. And I honestly have no idea what Sean's list is even going to be like, because I don't think we've ever talked about scores or soundtracks in any way. So I'm pretty interested to hear what you have.
Mine's pretty it's basic. I wish I was cooler and had like more like weirder stuff. It's all pretty basic.
Oh, is it? Man, I was like, I'm sure he'll have like Halloween on there or something. Then he's going to have something super obscure. He's going to be like, actually, the Bay of Blood film in 1960. That's cool. Mine's pretty bad. I don't have many. I think I have pretty typical ones. Maybe some you wouldn't think of, like Idle Hands. You ever seen Idle Hands?
Mm-mm.
So that's like a 90s horror comedy, like late 90s. So it's got a lot of like Rob Zombie type music, like late 90s, early 90s industrial kind of stuff through the whole thing, which I thought it's obviously fitting for the time. It definitely dates the movie, but it fits in kind of a cool way.
Interesting.
Yeah, of all the 90s movies, I think I can't think of too many that actually just dove really hard into 90s, like that Rob Zombie style music for horror movies. The only song I can think of from Scream, which I bet you have on yours, is that was that Red Right Hand? Is that the name of the song?
Yeah, Red Right Hand. Well, lots of things used Living Dead Girl.
Oh,
Brett
that's
Chucky
true.
had Living Dead Girl. Like every movie had Living Dead Girl
That's
that
true.
came out at that point.
I never understood why at the beginning of you're talking about Living Dead Girl and Chucky, they don't say like Living Dead Girl by Rob Zombie at the beginning. It just says intro theme performed by Rob Zombie. And I'm like, that's not your intro theme. That's just his song.
Funny.
Every time I see it, I don't know. It just bugs me. I'm like, that's not your song. He didn't write it for your movie.
Yeah, but Scream is on my list. Not necessarily for the song, sort of the pop soundtrack, if you want to call it that. Even though I do think there are a lot of cool songs on there. I like Youth of America a lot. For me, it was more of the score to Scream, for all four of them by Marco Beltrami. I think his is really interesting. He uses a lot of choirs, which you don't hear a lot of in like horror scores. Well, that's probably not true, but I feel like it's kind of unique to the slashers, at least. There's a lot of like really kind of just haunting stuff. Sydney's theme is great. A lot of the chase scene music is really, really cool. I think it's just a really kind of fun, unique score.
Yeah, I now that I'm looking at my list, I don't have nearly as many scores as I do like just soundtracks, honestly. Like the one score I have that's always stuck with me, but I don't, even to this day, I think it's called the Tubular Bells or whatever from The Exorcist.
Oh yeah.
That one gets me no matter what. And they play it throughout the movie. And on top of that, they have like this real underlining bass, dark, I don't know what you'd call it, like symphonic, just like really quiet in the background, but it's always kind of there. And I always find that unnerving. But the little tubular bell, the main theme, even especially as a kid, if I heard that, I immediately got scared just from that one sound. Like I'm sure how most people felt with hearing Halloween or like the Jaws theme is how I feel when I hear the Exorcist theme. It always creeps me out.
Yeah, no, that's great. Halloween is on my list, as you called. It's just so like simple and effective, and it has that kind of interesting time signature that's really cool. And I think it's one of the most effective like movie scores there is, like regardless of genre. Like it's so good. and the movie almost wouldn't work without it. Like it's really necessary to that movie. Like it's a huge part of it.
Yeah, I think a big thing with a score is if you have one like Halloween or Jaws or something, if you can have a score that when it comes on, it already strikes you as really unnerved because you know something's about to happen. If it entices some level of fear just from hearing it before anything even happens, I think that's how you know you've got a really good score.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I have one score that I hate that everyone praised was It Follows. I don't know if you ever. Did you like that score? Is that on your list?
It is on my list.
It just sounds like I can't even, I don't have a way to explain how I don't like it. It's just like a lot of plucking sounds is what it sounds like to me. It's just like blink, 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 blink. I'm like, okay, I'm over this. I know people, I read about it. They're like, it's supposed to be retro, video gamey, unnerving. I hated every second of that sound. I thought it was dumb. And first off, I hated the movie. So that's probably why I hated the soundtrack. But I also couldn't get into any of the noise or the ambiance or anything with that movie.
No, I love It Follows, and I love that score. I love the sort of little kind of piano riff that's the main theme. I like all that sort of weird, eerie kind of sounds. I think it's really cool.
It was definitely different. I'll give them that. It was for sure unique. It was something new. It wasn't the same typical type of score. But it just does nothing for me. And that's, I don't know. I wish I had more knowledge about scores and musician, like the actual orchestra side and the symphonic side of movies, because I really don't. But some of them are just, I'm sure there's some that are just iconic and really good musicians and composers, but I wish I knew more, but I really don't. Like I know Danny Elfman. That's probably the only composer I could think of by name is Danny Elfman.
Well, you got John Williams.
What's he do?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
God, everything. Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Superman, Jaws. Jaws is him.
There you go.
E.T., I'm pretty sure is him. Tons of stuff. Like it's a massive resume. He's kind of like the composer.
He's like the Tom Savini of being composer.
Yeah.
You got like one name tied to it. I guess I've heard his stuff. I just don't know his name, but I wish I knew more because it really can make or break a film. I wouldn't say it necessarily breaks a film, but it definitely can enhance a film for sure if you do it correctly. I mean, look at Jaws and the impact that had. Everybody knows, even if you've never seen it, you know that dun dun. You already know, and that's same thing with Nightmare. Same thing with Friday the 13th. Those little bitty bites of stuff that people can hold on to forever, I think, is what makes it so successful. And the fact that Friday the 13th is literally just someone kind of mouthing a word and then putting it on repeat. And it's like, yep, there you go. We just created a legend right here.
Elm Street is on my list. I love the score to Elm Street. That just cool little, again, just piano riff. Like having a little simple motif like that always really works for me. I think it's super cool and eerie, and I love every time it comes in. And that score is very similar to It Follows, and that's very sort of electronic and ambient. I do not like the score to Friday the 13th. Like obviously the ma ma ma, that's great, but the actual like music I think is the most obnoxious thing on planet Earth. I hate it so much. And like they're trying to do a Psycho thing, and I love Psycho's music, that big like Psycho theme. But man, I can't stand the music in Friday the 13th. It annoys me.
Oh, I guess I've never paid too much attention to their music just because I'm so used to just like the ma thing that I never really pay attention too much to the music. But now I'm gonna have to go back and watch them and see if I could pick it up.
It's the worst part about playing the video game to me is because I have to just listen to the music nonstop.
Oh, it just like, plays the whole time.
Yeah. It changes because you can play as the old Nintendo Jason, where he's like purple and stuff, if you've seen that. And the music changes to be like more like 80s Nintendo. So I prefer when that Jason is being played because then the music's better.
Do they have it on Super Nintendo or is it just original Nintendo?
The original Friday the 13th game was just a Nintendo thing, just
Damn.
NES.
Because I found my wife's Super Nintendo about a
Mm.
week ago, and I was like, man, I wonder if they got like those old games on there. Those
No.
like Friday the 13th ones. Damn. So I see people playing them online and stuff, and I'm like, that looks fun as shit. Looks hard as shit, but fun as shit.
Hmm.
I used to have this Nightmare on Elm Street one that was pretty interesting too. Kind of just run around, and it almost made me think of like old Metal Gear Solid. You're just running around just the same direction, attacking people. This is great. This is fun. You're just Freddy, just running back and forth.
There were some cool fan games on the internet that I played growing up. I don't know if I saw that one, but I definitely saw a couple.
I liked whenever I was probably like 10, I used to always go online and play like those like escape room games. And they had one that was a Nightmare on Elm Street escape room that was really cool.
I think I might have played that one.
Oh, it tied like all the movies in together, which is, now that I'm older, I can see that. At the time, I thought it was just a cool game, but now that I've seen them all, you end up on the TV in the video game. I remember doing that. What else did they have? They had a couple references. I'd have to play it again. I might have to go play that later. I used to love that game.
Well, since we were, sorry to try and get back on topic. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I was going off.
So I misunderstood the topic and I thought we were just doing scores. So like, what are some like just general soundtracks that you like?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm my bad. Maybe I didn't construe it enough. I apologize. Soundtracks, anything with Rob Zombie movies.
Oh yeah.
Because they're always just a classic. I mean,
dude, his two Halloweens, those two soundtracks are so good.
Yeah, everyone hit. Like I was trying to look up, I was like, Devil's Rejects, Halloween, and I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna lump them all into one. I can't really. They're all good.
He's completely changed like how I like view Nights in White Satin. Because now it's like a really like creepy, unnerving song because of how well he used it in Halloween 2.
Well, that's what I like about the very beginning, the Devil's Rejects. He's playing Midnight Rider while they're like doing the opening and just slang. And it's just a cool juxtaposed song to what's actually going on. And I think he's so good at placing songs where they need to be in a movie to work so well. It's almost
ending with Freebird.
Yeah, it's almost a talent in itself. I know it's not a traditional score, but he's so good at picking a specific song to make a mood either more uncomfortable, more, I guess at the end I wouldn't say empowering, but more excited. It's really, yeah, all his movies. That's kind of the big one I have written down is all Rob Zombie soundtracks.
Well, you know, it would be so easy for him if he was more like egotistical to like just use his own music so that he can kind of resist that and kind of like just go to music he likes or that fits. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I think one thing I guess I like about him, I guess, like you said, is it's not ego filled. And I know people his style of movie is not for everybody, but I like that he makes the style of movie that he liked and puts in the music that he liked as a kid. And he kind of uses all of that into his movies. I think is really cool. He's not trying to make something to appeal to a crowd that's not his crowd. He's kind of just, he knows what he wants and he knows who it's for, and that's what he makes. I've always kind of liked that.
Yeah.
His soundtrack choices definitely do it. As far as, I can't really think of too many other horror movies that have legit song soundtracks. I'm trying to think of.
The Screams all did. And there's a lot of stuff I like on the 4 Scream soundtracks.
I can't think of anything like their songs. I'm trying to remember what they've had in their movies.
Red Right Hand is obviously like the big theme, and that's
great.
They
had an acoustic version of Don't Fear the Reaper that
an acoustic cover.
Yeah, I really like that song,
which is of course a Halloween reference. Creed had a couple songs in 3.
It's very rare.
No, the entire Scream 3 soundtrack is like late 90s, early 2000s new metal. I don't want to call it new metal, but it's like Seven Dust and Godsmack.
Oh, it's like dad rock almost, I guess. Like Jim.
Well, I think that's what that would be considered now, but it was super hip then.
Yeah, back then it'd be like it always makes me think of people that'd be like at the gym and saying bro a lot. Whenever I hear that music, that's what I see. I see like a dude with a monster can. He's like, bro, did you check out the new Godsmack album? He's definitely got a tribal tattoo around his bicep.
It's very of the time.
Oh, yeah, it definitely dated it. Just like if you listen to Dream Warriors, you
I love that song.
It's dated that movie so hard. And then I guess Scream 3, I never paid attention. You listen to that, you'll be like, oh yeah, 2003, bringing it back. Well,
the songs are barely in the movie itself, which is probably why you can't think of them. There's just a soundtrack.
That's
like
funny.
they really barely use like songs in the movies themselves.
What movie did I see the other day? I went and saw Malignant in theaters.
I need to watch that.
Dude, I'm not really a James Wan guy, and I'm still not, but that movie was pretty decent. Like it wasn't bad. The twist at the end, you're like, oh my God, it actually made me do one of these in the theaters. Like, oh yeah, it was pretty. I can't remember if it was that movie.
Would it have been Candyman? Because I know you said you saw Candyman.
Oh, I can't get into that one. That could be a 40-minute episode about my feelings about that movie.
I need to go see Candyman.
I think we're gonna have very differing opinions. Be my guess. I feel like an odd man out. Maybe it was. I've watched all the Chucky movies back to back like last weekend, so it might have been one of those.
Gross.
Yeah, I'd never seen them. I'd seen the first one and I hated it. I hated it, and so I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try. And I watched all of them, and they got better as they went, I thought, but they're still not my favorite. Like when he gets all ridiculous and jokey, I would take that over the first one. But it's one of those where every 2 minutes a new song would start. A scene would happen and they'd play a song, and then before they switched the next scene, another song would start. And they had like 12 songs in the first 30 minutes, just back to back.
Would it have been Bride?
It was probably Bride. If I'm thinking of the time, it's probably Bride of Chucky.
You know, I don't know if you've seen it because I know you don't like superhero stuff, but the first Suicide Squad was the exact same way, where it was just like nonstop. And sometimes in the same scene, like one scene starts with Seven Nation Army. And then like halfway through the scene, they switch to an Eminem song. And it's like, who is editing this?
Yeah, like we were talking about how a good score can make a vibe. Not knowing how to make a soundtrack or a score is just as horrible, because there's so many songs. The first time you hear a song, you're like, dang, I haven't heard, that's a cool song to you. And then within 30 seconds, you're like, okay, that's a good song too, I guess. And then 30 seconds later, you're like, okay, dude, I get it. You like a lot of songs. I got it. Let's move on with the music.
And they're often like the most on the nose choice of song. So like, again, not to pick on Suicide Squad, but I'm going to pick on Suicide Squad. There's a scene where they're just like in a plane or something. And so what's the song they're singing? Spirit in the Sky. It's just all stuff like that.
It's like if you're watching a Vietnam movie, it's guaranteed Fortunate Son's going to play it.
Oh, for sure.
You see a helicopter in Nam, you're like, here comes CCR. It's time. Yeah, if you said you got 3 guesses, pick what song they played in Suicide Squad, I would have got Seven Nation Army at some point. I promise. That's so on the nose. I would have thought there's no way they played that song. Or I remember one of the Iron Mans used all AC/DC for a soundtrack, right?
Yeah, that was cool. I thought that was neat.
I'm trying to think of like superhero movies that kind of did a better job of it, but I could see.
Honestly, the second Suicide Squad
was it
the
better?
New one. Yeah, it did it a lot better.
They must have got a new editor who was just sitting there. He just looked at his Spotify. He's like, I like all of these songs.
I like all of these.
Damn it. I'll fit these in. He didn't even care where the songs went with the scene. He just shuffled it. He's like, this one, I'll just put this one here, this one here. It's fine. They're all
Super
good
Freak
songs.
should go here.
Did they have that in there?
Yes. During one of like during Harley Quinn's introduction. Because again, on the nose.
That is Sweet. I'm definitely not going to go watch that movie at all now. Thank you.
It is a great movie to watch if you want to know how bad editing can just completely ruin a movie. It is a movie that is killed by its editing. Like, it is shocking how bad the editing is.
Like, not even musically, like
The entire movie.
Stuff.
It is, oh my God, like everything. You're just like, what is happening? There's characters will just disappear from scenes. Like during the final battle, Harley Quinn, she hits the villain, she like stabs her. And then it cuts to two other characters, Will Smith and another guy. And then it kind of cuts back to a wide shot and Harley Quinn's just gone. And you have no idea where she is. Like, there's no sense of like character space, where anyone is in a given scene. It's bizarre.
Just so many continuity errors that it can't even keep up with itself.
Yeah, like, oh, it's weird. It's so weird. I do not know what happened.
They redeemed themselves for the second one?
The second one is so much better.
That's good. At least they learned.
Well, they got a different director, which was good.
Oh, well, that'll do it. I'm trying to think of any more soundtracks that just come off the top of my head.
I have one more. It's not the soundtrack itself, but I absolutely love the stupid little theme in all of the Saw movies. When the twist happens, there's this dumb little piano thing that comes in every time, and I love it so much.
Are you talking about where they do like the montage of all the things leading up? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's so good because it's really funny.
Now that you mention it, it is kind of ridiculous. I can see it and hear it. It's every movie. Now that you say that,
They do it every time.
one of them.
My brother and I will just sing it, and we'll just go higher and higher, and we'll just go.
I've never thought about that one. They really do play that every single movie. Now I'm gonna have to start doing that. My wife watches those movies, and I don't really care for them. I'm gonna have to ruin the ending for her every time she watches them. Have you seen the new one? Did they do it in the new one too?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I should, because I was interested with like Chris Rock and Sam Jackson in it.
I heard it was Chris Rock was not very good in that movie.
Really?
From a couple people, I heard that he did not really perform as well as you would.
Oh man,
want.
I do want to put like money on the table bet Sam Jackson is probably Jigsaw in that movie. I know nothing about it, but he is probably Jigsaw.
That's probably a good bet. I wouldn't bet against you. That sounds right. I couldn't. Yeah, if Samuel L. Jackson's in it, there's no way that him and Chris Rock would both be final characters in the same movie, like trying to survive together.
Sam Jackson is for sure the bad guy.
He's got to be.
No way he's not.
I've had it with these motherfucking traps in this motherfucking place.
And why are we still making Saw movies? He died like 20 years ago.
I know, he died in Saw 3, and they're like, we got 8 more coming, don't worry. After the third one, the acting quality just went so far down. The storyline got so convoluted. I was watching like the fucking 6th one or something that my wife had on, and I was trying to explain to her how the plot line of this makes no sense at this point, because Jigsaw died, his daughter ran it, now this cop runs it, then all of a sudden the doctor from the first one's back in it, and you're like,
yeah,
fuck these movies, dude.
Oh man, nuts.
Now that you mentioned the little piano, yeah, that's a good one. Saw did have some random songs in their movies that I liked that were a little more heavier. Like there was a song by a band I like called Every Time I Die called Roman Holiday that they used in the 4th one, I think, that was really good. They kind of used more modern, heavier stuff rather than, but again, they're horrible movies, so it's not like it affected the film or in any way. It was one of those like, oh, it's dark and gruesome, let's put something heavy behind it, that'll do it. And that's kind of how they did it. They just threw random metal songs, like they'll love this, and didn't do anything for the movie, but I liked the song, so it stuck with me.
A random bunch just flew into my head. Just out
I'm
of nowhere,
ready.
if I could just like list them off real quick. The Shocker soundtrack, which we talked about in that Wes Craven
hmm
retrospective, which has like Paul Stanley and Alice Cooper. It's very, very 80s, but super fun. And there, have you heard Motorhead's Hellraiser?
Uh-uh.
They did a song Hellraiser for Hellraiser 3. It is the best part of Hellraiser 3. Ozzy Osbourne also has a version, but I think the Motorhead one is better. It's really good. You should look up the music video. Lemmy plays poker with Pinhead, and it's hilarious.
Sweet.
And then there are some terrible movies that have some like great end credit songs, and I was like, worth it. One is Howling 4. I think it's Howling 4. And then there's this really cheesy song that plays at the end credits called Something Evil, Something Dangerous. I would sing it, but I can't sing, and it's embarrassing. But it's a super funny song, and I love it. Completely unironically. And then
I'm more
another...
impressed you watched the Howling Four.
It's a movie that's always on those like public domain sets that like relatives buy you. Because like you like horror movies, here's 15 movies that are crap. Look, it's Howling 4 and Halloween 6 and Hellraiser 7.
The big thing that they always have is featuring Night of the Living Dead. You're like, oh great, I got 19 copies of this now.
All right, cool. It's funny, it's the only Howling movie I've seen.
You don't even know the continuity to the rest of the films. Like, but Howling 4, though.
There is none from what I understand. I have the original. I need to watch it.
Dude, do a watch along on your YouTube. I'll join. I've
heard the Howling is really good, the original.
It
like,
might
that's
be.
like a big horror classic. It's the sequels that are like, what's happening?
You think it's like a Hellraiser Children of the Corn type thing where the first one's good and then they just sold it off?
Yes, very much so. But the last one that going to my head is from another Wes Craven movie, Cursed, which you talked about, which was his unfortunately terrible werewolf movie. But it ends with a collective soul song. Speaking of 90s bands that the Tribal Tattoos.
Oh yeah.
They have a song called Better Now that ends that movie. That's really cool.
You said that one has oh my God, Christina Ricci, right?
Yes, she's the lead.
See, I want to watch it because I like Christina Ricci, and you told me it's not very well made.
She's great. It's like Suicide Squad in that it's like, oh, this is how editing can like completely screw a movie, and it had like studio interference and stuff, which is unfortunate because you can kind of see where it could be good while you're watching it, but that only makes it like worse.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I love Christina Ricci. I think she's great.
Yeah, she's good in it.
Well, that's good. At least she's watchable. That's all dude, you just rattled off a whole bunch at the end. The ending of Saw Grab that was a deep dive. That was a good one. I would never have thought of that one. I never even paid attention to it until you said it. And then as you were saying it, I started thinking, I thought of the ends of all the movies. I was like, oh shit. They do all do the same thing. Do you want to take bets if they do it at the end of Jigsaw?
There's no way they don't.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Wait, is that what the new one's called?
I think it's, or Spiral rather. I'm sorry.
Spiral is the new one. Yeah, Jigsaw was the one before that.
Yeah.
Because let's just be confusing with
yeah,
their titles.
Why not? I'm sure there's going to be no glaring plot holes between the first 9. And that's what's good about like Friday the 13th and stuff, in my opinion, is like, I don't really need that aggressive of a plot line to follow when you're in Jason Goes to Hell at that point. Like, fuck it, I'm just here to see gore and kills and whatever. Saw's like, how long can we carry one storyline for 12 movies? It's like, dude,
that's something that's just gotten like more popular like in the last 10, 20 years. It's just like a thing to do. And I don't really like it that much either. I'm like, make a movie.
Yeah. Like, think about how many great movies. Oh, this is going to be another episode, but how many great movies would be if you just stopped them after their first one or the second one, if they had a good sequel and they just ended? It'd be insane how many great movies there'd be. But That's all I got for soundtracks. Sounds like that's all you got for soundtracks. Any
Mhm.
upcoming news? Anything you got on your radar?
Yeah, so I have kind of a list of stuff. We're recording 2 episodes today, so I can break them up if we want.
Okay.
I don't know if you have anything.
I don't have anything particular.
Okay,
no.
then I'll do a couple, and then we'll do the rest for the next one. So the big thing that got announced for the new Halloween movie, Halloween Kills, is that it will no longer be a theatrical exclusive release. It will come out same day on Universal streaming service Peacock, which
Yes.
nobody pays for.
Unfortunately, my wife did and never canceled it, so I have it. I will be watching
Peacock.
it at home.
Yes, but you can watch it home same day. There is a free version of Peacock where they like sort of limit their content, but you could sort of get like a little bit. I imagine Halloween will be through a paid version. Like there's no way it'll be on the free version, but I didn't see it clarified anywhere. But that was sort of the big thing. Staying on Halloween, there are new 4K releases for the original film 4 and 5. They all have matching covers. They're the ugliest things I've ever seen.
Are they I saw some that were on a store I was looking at. Are they like the gold kind of silver looking, like silver goldish looking covers? Is that the ones you're talking about?
I don't think so. They're all like just sort of painted covers of Michael with like a weird background.
Oh, I saw those too. I was looking on, I think it was called Scream Factory or something. They had a bunch of, I know now that you said the painting ones, but they had some ugly silver ones that they were coming out with. I thought they looked horrible.
Interesting. Shout Factory, they do tons of stuff, and this is their release. The only thing really interesting is that they found and restored the lost opening to Halloween 5. Halloween 5 had a completely different opening sequence originally that they decided didn't work, so they reshot it. And we have seen behind the scenes footage of them filming this scene, but we've never seen the scene. Just gonna see how many times I can say scene in one go. So this is our first time getting to actually see it edited together. So that's really the only thing that I thought was interesting about these releases. I've not been thrilled with the transfers of older movies to 4K. I feel like they lose a lot of color. And I think I've complained about this previously because I think we were talking about the Scream 4K that's coming up. And I don't know if I need another copy of Halloween because I have quite a few. Yeah, so then the last bit of news, sort of two things together. There is a new Hellraiser movie coming and a new Texas Chainsaw movie coming. And the specific news about both of these is that neither of them will be theatrical releases.
Oh, God.
The new Hellraiser will be a Hulu exclusive. And the new Texas Chainsaw will be a Netflix exclusive. And I believe that Chainsaw movie might be done. Like, it might be out this year.
Yeah.
That could be wrong, but I think it's out really soon. Because Netflix is weird.
I read something. I'm sorry. They were trying to get it out by December.
Yeah. And they always drop a trailer like a week before it's out. So it's not like typical kind of movie schedule. So I think we could see Texas Chainsaw this year for whatever reason. And then I think Hellraiser will be next year.
I hope since it's a Netflix exclusive and not something made outside of Netflix that's just going straight to Netflix, then maybe it'll have a little better value than some of the later films in that franchise.
It might have a little more money behind it. The problem is that Netflix is so hit or miss because they'll just make anything because they just want content. They just want to keep subscribers and to get subscribers. So they'll just make anything.
Yeah.
And so there's no real quality control. So it might have more like production value than the last couple of ones. But it could go either way.
Yeah, you look at something like Fear Street that I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought had a good story. And then you can see 200 other horror movies that came out the same month as that one. Well, I've never seen the Hellraiser movies. I really need to sit down and watch them. I know nothing.
You need to watch the first two and then nothing else.
And the Howling Four. I also need to put that on my
Howling
list.
Four. You just need the song. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I got no news. Nothing coming up. I'm still just looking forward to hearing more information about when that Exorcist remake is going to come out or reboot. I'm so terrified, man. I love the original. I don't know what's going to happen. Is his name David Gordon Green, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm so curious to see what he can do with it. I don't know. But other than that, I got no other news. That's all I look forward to now, is waiting for that. And I guess I got to wait for Texas Chainsaw Massacre now, because we'll see. I'm a big fan. But yeah, I got nothing. So if you want to check me out, especially in October, I'm doing this Halloween extravaganza, I guess, on my YouTube. One new horror movie content, whatever video related a day. So I've been editing my ass off trying to get that done. So you can check me out down below this October. That's kind of all I got. That's where you can find me. It's down below. Sean, you got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can just check me out on YouTube. It's just Sean Blumenshine, where I talk about whatever I want to talk about, but usually rock music or horror movies.
You got any specific movies or anything coming up that you can think of?
I will probably be doing videos because it's about to be October. So in October, I will probably be reviewing one of the Halloween films a week. So I'll probably get through the first 5.
Have fun reviewing 5. I can't wait to hear your review of 5. I'm very excited. But that's all we got. I never know how to close these things out. So I guess just subscribe and download and share this podcast, everybody, so we can get this community growing. But thank y'all for the love and support. Y'all are the best.